Numero 60.
Podcast 6. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It's Nick and Sam, and we are here to talk about cars.
Accent's coming back.
Accents always. So we've been doing some stuff. I went to the New York Auto Show this weekend, and Mr. Sam may try to get there this weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I'm gonna try.
We'll see. See how the schedule works out.
Yeah.
But I have definitely things to talk about from there. And then we are going to talk about, we were discussing earlier today,
The brands you would most likely not buy. I know we always talk about, if you're going for performance or luxury, there's certain cars you would want to buy, certain cars you prefer, but just overall brands that you would shy away from for whatever reason.
it kind of like whatever reason. This is opinion based.
Not saying they
Don't sue us.
not saying they don't make decent cars, or maybe they don't, but it's just, I don't know.
Just appeal wise for
It's
whatever
weird.
reason, and talk about why.
Yeah.
So it'll be that. And then
we're gonna briefly touch on the Uber self-driving incidents.
Yeah,
that
I just saw the video myself, and
What was it? I think it was last week that it came out.
Yeah,
the video.
That's a rough
Not the
one.
incident, the video.
But yeah, we're talking about the video, and we're talking about kind of just self-driving car type safety.
Yeah.
And what that video might say about it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive in.
Let's do it.
All right,
Auto show.
New
Kick it
York
off.
Auto Show. Kick it off. I guess just on the superficial level, and the first thing I went to, the exotic section this year was really, really, really on point. They had just multiple hypercars, and it was nuts. They had the new Bugatti Chiron Sport, which was red. They had the Lamborghini Centenario. I think I said that right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of just a few. And I'd seen that car at Greenwich before, but oh my god, like what a showstopper! It's all carbon.
The one with the bunch of ducks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and all the ducts were red and the body's carbon, so it's like everything stands out.
That's pretty cool.
Every detail and just it's literally like a spaceship.
That's pretty cool.
It was awesome. People were all over.
Is that street legal?
Yep, it's an Aventador SV underneath, I think.
Oh wow.
With a little bit more power, it's like 770.
No
versus
big deal.
750, like
course.
you won't even feel the difference. But yeah, no, it's mostly that like you have like one of like a handful of them in the world, and it's like just a total show. It's a Lamborghini's Lamborghini.
Yeah,
total showstopper.
Right.
And then they had the Rimac Concept 2, which is their new gig.
You're not a huge fan of?
We'll touch on that a little bit later, maybe.
Right.
But like it's an electric hypercar. It's ridiculously fast. I forgot the exact specs on it, but I will say it looks like a more complete hypercar than the Project 1 did. The Project 1 to me always looked like a little bit unfinished, whereas this like has more of the detail work that I think a car like that needs to have these days. So I was impressed with that. And then Koenigsegg had their the Regera and the Agera RS right next to each other, and I've seen the Agera R of some type. I don't know if I'd seen the RS before, but I've seen a couple of gears. But the Regera, the new one with no transmission, it just has a twin turbo V8 and electric motors, and it basically uses the electric motors to power through the turbo lag, and then the motor kicks up. It just has a final drive gear.
So kind of how I think the LaFerrari does that, right?
No, it's a little bit of a different system. That actually still has gears. But that has the I think that has the electric. One of the electric motors is between the engine and the transmission. This has that as well, and I think as well as two motors on the axle itself. And so it basically just has one gear.
So theoretically,
from electric to engine.
One motor could just power one wheel and just torque steer.
Use that as torque steer. In theory, yeah, if it was programmed that way for sure. But it's a crazy design. It's the only design like it of its type. And oh my god, the details, just looking at that thing, just the mirrors just the design of everything. It's a crazy car. First one I've seen in person, totally blown away. And then from there they had what was the Agera? And then they had the new Lamborghini Super Trofeo over there. And
no
then
big deal.
NBD, it was all carbon race car type thing.
No big deal.
It's weird though. Like I barely paid it any mind with all the other crazy cars there. But then, and then lastly, they had the Urus, and I saw that for the first time. And I asked my girlfriend Gab what she thought about it, and she just was like, it looks like every other SUV. And to be fair, it was a gray one, so not the most Lambo color.
Right.
I'll be honest, it really.
That sucks.
It's handsome. It's a nice design, but it really does look like every SUV.
That's not what Lamborghini's supposed to be.
I agree. It's not crazy enough.
Like, that's great for the market, but Lamborghini's supposed to be a little over the top. Like, wow, like, really? Did you need to do that?
Yeah, to me, it's like a little bit too mundane. Like, it looks good, and like in the right color combos, it'll be really good.
What's the engine that it has again?
4.0T.
That's
just like the RS7.
Yeah, right.
It's like basically an RS7 motor and a Q7 body with 2 less seats in the back and Lamborghini styling. It's a bit mundane for the Lamborghini brand.
Just you explaining it like that really makes me sad.
Kind of ruins it, right? Yeah. Like meanwhile, if you're familiar with the old Lamborghini SUV truck they made, it was the LMO02. Yeah, it was a big, like, Humvee type thing with a Countach V12 and a manual transmission. It was just this ultimate, like, military vehicle for the street. It was awesome.
Very practical.
Yeah, it was nuts. But, like, it sounds like a Countach, too, and you hear it. Like this, I don't think this is gonna quite match the majesty of that. They're gonna sell a shitload of these things, though.
I wonder how the exhaust note's gonna be.
Because I've heard a video, and it's good. Because
the RS7 is a very, like, there's no, like, high-pitched, like, whine as a Lamborghini. No. It's, like, a very good, it's like a rumble, which is nice. Yeah. But for Lamborghini, you expect, like, a...
From the video I saw, this is that. This is not... You're not going to get the whine, the real high-pitched whine. I don't think it's, like a really exotic V8 or anything like that. Yeah. Like, it's just parts been built up a little bit for Lambo. So,
well, hopefully the next one will be good.
Yeah, I hope they go a little crazier. I would have liked to have seen, like, maybe the twin-turbo V10 they used in, like, the... No, they used it in the old RS6. That's why there was a precedent for having it, and then you could have, like, a similar sound to a Huracan. Yeah. And, just turbocharged so a little quieter, but, like...
I wonder how emissions would be on that thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's all those other factors. You can only ask so much, I guess, but... I don't know. I mean, it's top of the line. It's Lamborghini. It's cool, and I'm sure they're going to sell a lot, and I'm sure that's going to give Lamborghini money to do other really awesome things. So that's why I like it. I do wish they'd done it a little differently, but, especially after seeing it in person, like, it's okay, but it definitely could be.
Was it what you expected, though?
Yeah, it was about. Well, especially in that color. Like, if you get... I've done a configurator. If you can do, like, orange with green seats... And, like, have your Lamborghini Skittles completion. And I would do that. And I think that car needs that to really, like, have that attention grabbing.
I don't know about the interior.
Oh, I would, man. It was green chairs, man. It's the way to be. All right, so that was the exotic area. It was pretty impressive this year, I will say. And then probably my favorite car there, still in the dream realm, is the new Porsche GT3 RS Weissach package.
What's that?
So basically, it's a lot of, like, GT2 RS parts on a GT3 RS.
Okay.
So, like, the hood and, like, the carbon accents and stuff. It's a little lighter, but it's like the one you'd really, really want with the GT3 engine and stuff.
Interesting.
Obviously, it's PDK only because it's the RS. I can let that slide because for those of us who love manual, they make the normal GT3, and I'd be happy with that. But for an RS, it's PDK only, and I mean, this thing is just really, you could tell, it's just an extremely focused car. Like, I'm sure it's going to be so fast around the circuit. Yeah. Like, and just unbelievable to drive. They had it in green, like, just bright.
That thing's awesome.
Yeah. There's no getting
So
around
that should have switched colors with the Lamborghini.
Yeah, actually, I could have dealt with this in gray, and it would have still been cool.
Yeah.
And the Lambo could have been green. But yeah, the RS was... I mean, I'll have to see it closer. We couldn't get that close to it because I had it on the spinner. But I got some okay pictures of it there. But I want to see it up close and, like, maybe sit in one, drive one. But then they... real quick, they also had this new blue edition Lexus LC500, and they
Mhm.
had it with a 3-tone interior, so orange, blue, and white.
It's pretty posh.
And like, that's the LC500 to have. If you want to turn heads, that is exactly the one to have.
Yeah. I saw an article or this meme going around. It was like, "What's your favorite car?" Or pick between the two, and it was LC500 or LFA.
Yeah, I mean, still choose the LFA.
Yeah, I
time.
know. I know. It was like it was a pretty dumb meme. I was like, I mean, LC500 is great, but like LFA, come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, okay, so like the LC500, and they were like the lady was up on the thing talking about it. And they're like, have you seen the LFA? Like, this is like the LFA. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is a 4,300-pound GT car that is inspired by the LFA, but it is not a supercar. The LFA, when that was out, was a bona fide supercar.
Was a whole body carbon fiber? Or no?
I don't know, honestly. But there was a lot of carbon fiber. Like, Lexus has their own carbon fiber loom just for that car. And now they're using it for other things, too. But like, they built the loom for that car. And just
like the weave, they all do.
And the engine. Like, the V8 in this car is spectacular. Like, it's awesome for what it is, but it's not like a motorsport V10. Like, it's totally different experience.
Sounds like a freaking F1 car.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing, they have not really replaced the LFA. Even when they make an F version of this, that will not replace the LFA.
It's not the same type of car.
It's also not as limited production.
Yeah.
I think they only built 500 LFAs, so like there's only ever going to be that many of those.
They lost money on every single one.
Yeah, they did. Whereas this, but don't get me wrong, I love the idea that you could, LFAs these days are like $400,000, $500,000 still. This is 91 grand. If you add options, you're out the door still for under 100 grand. That's
a bargain.
That's the GT
I
car
I'd buy tomorrow.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Just go crazy and go in debt. But yeah, no, that was a cool car, and like I've seen it before, I've driven it briefly. Like it's a really awesome car, but just to see it in that color was pretty spectacular. It still drew crowds despite all the other cars around.
Oh, that color!
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was just crazy blue.
That's such a not Lexus move.
Yeah, and we're talking like sapphire, like glistening blue.
Yeah, Toyota Lexus, very conservative.
Yeah, it was like it made me think of the Eiffel 65 song, and after I saw it come out, somebody made a reference, and I've been on an Eiffel 65 kick for the whole week. It's great. And I'm speeding like crazy because those you can't drive the speed limit to those songs. Oh my god, I'm gonna get a ticket. Okay, so next is the Lincoln Aviator, which came out, and I gotta be honest. Okay, so yes, it's an Explorer in a suit, but my god, the styling on this it's a really handsome looking SUV. Yeah. Like they got these nice swooping lines. Like I'd almost say it looks very like Range Rover-ish, but I think that's a good thing. I think it's nice. It's
pretty massive.
It is. I mean, yeah, definitely.
Of, like not just the width, but like the entire presence is very like they're not trying to hide.
It's definitely not as big as the Navigator. The Navigator was like kind of like right near it, and you could tell like it's definitely a size smaller, but it's still massive. But yeah, I mean, wow. Like I mean, also like Lincoln is killing it right now, I think, with the cars they're making and the flavor, and like I think this is great for their brand.
There's a lot of good moves they're making, for sure.
Very distinctive cars. So I look forward to seeing that car on the road. That was just a pre-production model. In terms of the details, it was plugged in, so I assume I don't really know all the details of it, but I'm sure some kind of hybrid electric thing.
Right.
It's cool. I give it top marks for what it is. Next was I was excited to see this come out. Was the Jaguar F-Pace SVR.
Looks nice. Are those functional? So what we're looking at are the rear
tailpipes, right? Or the vents?
The vents.
Oh,
was it open or was that just covered?
I couldn't get close enough. It was actually behind it was close, but you couldn't walk right up to it.
I'm sure it's not functional though.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if it maybe, but yeah, I don't know, probably not. But I know, I mean, it had the quad pipes on it with the valves. Like this thing's gonna, like all the other V8 Jags, it's gonna absolutely roar. Like this thing's gonna be awesome. Like I was impressed with how the 6-cylinder sounded in the S trim. So this thing's just gonna be insane. And being a crossover SUV, with extra weight and stuff, like it's really going to benefit from the extra horsepower.
Yeah.
This is one of the lighter SUVs to begin with. Like I think it's Macan, like the normal F-Pace S with 380 horsepower is like, I want to say it was like 4,100 pounds. So it's on the lighter side.
Not bad.
Of like that segment. Like a Macan's like 4,300 or 4,400 pounds.
Right, which is one of the lighter ones, right?
Yeah, and that's still one of the lighter ones too. So like I don't know exactly how much, but I would guess this probably still weighs under 45 or about 45.
Is it all-wheel drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like it is.
I would love to see this, that, and Macan turbo go.
Yeah.
Like head to head.
This kills it for power. I don't know. Porsche might have it in the handling,
Like
but I don't
dynamics,
know, man.
Yeah.
But like it definitely. Well, the other one I had or I saw was the Alfa Stelvio Quadrifoglio.
Still not a fan though.
Oh, dude, the quad though.
Like,
oh my god, this and the Stelvio Quadrifoglio will be like head to head.
Every time I see a Stelvio, I'm just like, it looks like a big clown car.
I don't know. I am a fan. You're
an Alfa fanboy.
I am a fan. I'm becoming an Alfa fanboy.
Jeremy Clarkson.
I really am. But yeah, that I love these smaller size SUVs, not the Cayenne size, but the Macan size. Nimble. I love that these are now coming out with 500 horsepower versions because in a car that size, that's still a lot of power.
Yep.
Even when you're still talking about over 2 tons, it's still a good amount of horsepower. Whereas a 500 horsepower Cayenne, it's okay, so it's got the power to weight ratio of a base 911.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not that crazy. It's fast, but it's not insane.
It's a huge car.
No, I know, but that car needs 600 or 700 horsepower, like the Jeep, to be really fast.
Scare the crap out of your kids.
Whereas 550 horse in a car that's 4,300 pounds that's you're moving. That's a pretty quick car.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
So I like that, and then all right. So this was the RS5 Sportback, and they brought it in bright green, and that's the one I have.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, I love the color. I love the design. I love the Sportback in the RS configuration. I think this is definitely the one I would actually buy. Money involved.
How much is the asking price for that? I don't know if they. I don't think they released anything.
See what the coupe costs, but I want to say it's in the 80s. A loaded one in this segment is generally going to be up at 100 or so, give or take. Low hundreds, fully loaded, and probably 80 something or high 70s asking price, MSRP.
Mm-hmm.
But you do get your car's worth for sure. Because again, it's the same thing with the SUVs. This isn't a 5 Series. This is more like a 4 Series or a 3 Series. Yeah, so it looks like it's $85,000 or so. Which is fine. I think you get $85,000 worth of car there.
So that would compete with
they don't make an M4 Grand Coupe.
No.
Or
yeah.
So I guess it's an M3 competitor. It's at that level of the M3 M4, but they offer it with a four-door sedan or four-door coupe. So yeah, I think it has the flavor I'd want from an RS model. Really, really cool. I can't wait to try one. I'm ecstatic about, the way it looks, the way it, for me, I love the extra doors. Because the old one didn't have that. They only brought the coupe and the convertible. And I don't know if I think they had it over in Europe as a Sportback, but now we finally get the Sportback. And
I love
the style is nice.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's I just love the back.
Yeah. And it still has real exhausts and everything. You can see the valves right from the rear.
That's pretty awesome.
It's a cool car. It's still a fire breather in an era when things are getting tamed. So that's good. All right. So the next one was the Maserati Levante Trofeo.
It's a mouthful.
Is Maserati's SUV. Again, we're back to hot SUVs. Maserati, and this is the same class as the Jag and the Alfa, pretty much. It might be just a little bit big. It's bigger than the Alfa platform-wise, but I think the market is similar. It may be more like Cayenne size, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But they've brought out the hot version of that. It's got the Ferrari California, the Ferrari Portofino's V8 in it, so 590 horsepower, 3.8 liter V8 twin turbo.
Very nice.
Pretty damn good for its segment. If it is up against the Cayenne turbo has 550 horsepower, so it's definitely cooking with some gas. The only complaint I have about it is it's almost not noticeable. I mean, it was gray. Again, it was like gray. I don't know what it was. Like, everybody brought gray SUVs, but no, like, they didn't change enough of the styling. Like, the wheels give it away. But, like, other than that, like, the styling isn't really that noticeably different from the normal.
I'm sure the interior follows the same trend.
Yeah, probably.
It's very Maserati-like.
Yeah, it's very understated for a car with that much performance. And I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I think it's a handsome car. I think it's cool, and I love that they put that motor in it. I would like a little bit more to let people on the street know that she bought the big one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
What did they change? It looks like the front.
They've added like this little
slit, like for like maybe like brake cooling
arrow there and stuff. Yeah, like they've added, and I think it has like a black grill and stuff. There will be ways to tell, but like it's not like an M3 compared to a normal 3 Series, where it's like, obviously that's the performance version, you know what I mean? Where it's like, buffed down and stuff. Like, it really isn't. It's a little bit understated, which, hey, when you got that much power and you're going by the police, you kind of want an understated car. So I guess there's nothing to complain about there. It's just,
we'll just pick it up for...
Yeah, pick it up.
60 grand in 2 years.
60 grand in 2 years. 15 grand in 4. That's how Maseratis do it. Unfortunately for anyone who buys one. But yeah, no, it was pretty cool.
Awesome.
And then a little note: BMW had a beautiful M1 Pro car up on the balcony above their exhibit, and it was so crowded I didn't focus on any other cars. I just looked at the new M5 briefly. It was all smudged from people touching the awesome paint. It was like a flat red paint. It was beautiful. And in the right setting, it would be awesome. But, dude, it was smudged like crazy. And felt so bad for the people who had to wipe it down. So I just shot the M1 Pro car up top and kept it moving. My girlfriend Gab sat in the Mercedes. Speaking of the fast SUVs again. She sat in the Mercedes GLC 63, and she's interested in the smaller SUVs and stuff. So GLC, but probably not the AMG because we are not so financially blessed yet.
Dude, those are nice.
But maybe a 300 down the line. But she wanted to try it out, so I'm like, well, try out the fast one. And she's like, oh my god, it's beautiful and so nicely finished and stuff. And that car is, the carbon fiber work in that thing and the detail work, it feels like a pretty special car inside. It's really nicely appointed. All those dials are all metal and stuff. It feels nice. It feels great.
Yeah, Mercedes interiors are I would say for an entry level luxury brand, I think it's that or Audi.
Yeah, well, the C class, that car,
for the money, it looks
nice trim.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, them and Audi are ruling it there right now. Yeah. BMW has some nice materials. I'm not loving their design.
Their interiors are pretty same. You buy a BMW, you're like, oh, of course it's like this.
It makes sense.
I get that. It's not bad. Yeah, but I feel like
their individual interiors, though, those are nice.
Yeah, they're nice.
You pay for it.
Yeah, a lot.
I've been some of the 7 Series with those, and it was
they're nice.
Get used to this, but I don't know. So let's see, what else was there? There was alright. So that is that's it for what I personally featured on my photographs there, but the stuff that I didn't focus too much on photos was, I guess the big one was the Volkswagen Atlas Tanok, which is their new, it's a concept, realistic concept for a truck for the American market. And I gotta be honest, if they don't tone the design down too much, I actually really love the front grille and everything like that.
Having it lit up.
They're
not going to do that.
I wish they would. Or at least maybe tone it down a little bit, but that feature should still be there. It can't be, maybe not as bright, but that feature I think should still be there.
Yeah.
I like that.
This reminds me of the lines of and the dimensions of the car remind me of the Ford Explorer Sport Track.
Yeah.
Because the truck bed that cuts into the cabin, the rear seats, the rear cabin must not be...
Oh, no.
It's pretty tight.
Here's this.
What?
That is part of the door.
What?
How much do you hate that? The hip line there that looks like it cuts into the door is part of the door. It's style. It's styling. So it's when I saw them open it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Never mind. I
But,
take that all back.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it looks cool. I would love to see one. Like, I want to see what the final production is.
Yeah, I'll be curious what they keep.
Yeah, but these lights though, I am
the taillights I could take or leave.
No, I think it like the whole connecting the straight lines that connect the two headlights and the two taillights, those are not gonna go into production.
I wish they do.
I think it might.
I think that'll be a cool
I think
style.
it might be for like the higher trim, like if you get some crazy.
That'd be
trim.
awesome though.
Yeah,
but in the truck market, that's important because, like, you know, the differences in cost. Like, you can spend like $80,000 on an F-150 if you load it up with options. So like, you kind of want like the different trim levels to show differently because, like, you know, the guy that goes and spends that kind of money versus the guy that bought the base model for 45 or 40, you're like, you know,
it's a little important. Different though because the market that Volkswagen's going into is not like a work truck.
No.
Except, I mean, you can argue the Tacoma does have that work truck still.
Yeah, I would say the Tacoma does.
Yeah.
This is really more in the line of like the Honda Ridgeline.
Oh yeah,
for
sure.
It's very much not the I'm a big truck guy gonna haul stuff. Like, it's not built
it's like
a
lifestyle guy.
Yeah, this is the lifestyle guy who wants a bed, and you know, we're the working man that wants a bed. You know, or working man or woman. You know, we'll keep it legit. You know, who wants the bed, right?
You know who's really gonna buy this though.
It's pretty masculine. You know how it is, but I actually think that's a large part of the market is people that don't really need the full frame are going to be tempted by this because I think if they're smart, and I was telling one of our coworkers today that we actually had a little debate about this morning was I think that if they price this right, because a F-150 with the 2.7 EcoBoost for $45,000 is no leather interior, not many options, pretty much kind of a stripper with a decent engine and stuff for $45,000. That's a lot of money, right? These trucks are getting really expensive, so I think there is an opportunity if they can make this car have a middle of the range, well-equipped model at that same 45 level, I think they can steal buyers who aren't fully... All right, I'm not talking about the guys that are like Ford through and through, I bleed blue. I'm talking about the people that are looking at a bunch of different options. They don't need a full frame truck. I think they would consider this if it was nicer.
You just said people that wouldn't consider a full frame truck.
Yeah.
But then you
No. I'm saying people that don't need one.
Oh, don't need it.
Don't need one. There's a difference.
Yeah, so this would be more comparable to Tacoma, Frontier, the Ranger, the Ridgeline. What other ones are there?
It's a big market.
Yeah, but I mean, definitely they're going after Tacoma. I feel like that's definitely the leader. That's the standard. But I'm gonna be surprised how they market this because are they gonna market it as, you know, capable enough to go on a dirt road without going too crazy, or are they gonna have? Is it going to be like the Ridgeline, which is, yes, it is capable to, you know, go through rough terrain.
Path.
Right, but you're not going to be able to, like, get through.
No, it's not like a rugged truck.
Right. Even though it is pretty capable for a front-wheel drive truck, it's
I think my question
capable. And it tows more than a lot of cars.
If it has the diesel. So that's the big question with this is if they bring this truck to the United States, for me, at least in my opinion, for this to function as a truck as well as possible with the Volkswagen catalog, it has to have the diesel in it because that gives it a real towing capacity. Like the Touareg, it basically makes it like a Touareg type pickup truck. But my parents' Touareg with the diesel could tow 7,500 pounds. It's not too bad. For like a 3-liter engine, but I think Dieselgate's probably killed that.
It screwed it up for everybody.
The truck they needed to make, they probably can't make. And is anybody really going to buy this with the 3.6 cylinder in it? Like,
yeah, it should be interesting.
I don't know about. I think that neuters the whole thing.
Did they mention anything about the engine?
No. At least not to me. I didn't see it, but yeah, I think they would have trouble introducing diesel again, but I think that's what this needs to succeed. The other thing for me when we were just talking there is I have to wonder also, like, in this market, do you think Volkswagen might have too much of a white collar reputation at this point as a brand to really succeed in the truck market?
I don't think so. I think I mean, where I'm from in the OC, the trucks aren't seen as blue collar very much.
Really?
They're really not, because, I mean, there are obvious work trucks and you can see them on the road, but yeah, the at least in California, the lifestyle is very, especially for this segment of truck like Tacoma, Frontier, not the full size trucks. There's a lot, and it's mainly due to the lifestyle. Like, you can go camping, surfing, of course.
Right, so
it's
it's active lifestyle.
Yeah, so you see these trucks all the time, and you don't have to be. Yeah, I don't see it as a stigma of a blue collar unless you get the base trim. I guess I can see that, but yeah, there's a lot of trucks, and especially in SoCal where you want to go pre-running, you're not going to get a full size truck.
Yeah,
exactly.
No.
So like, I think that's the more extreme end, like the hardcore enthusiast.
Interesting.
But just in like the white collar or blue collar, I think it's a lifestyle truck, and I think trucks have lost their stigma of being a blue collar work truck. That's hence the higher trims for the F-150, like King Ranch.
Maybe see, I would now. This is me coming from Jersey, so like Sam's from Southern California. I'm from Jersey, so like in Jersey, I would say even still like the pickup truck is very much like a blue collar lifestyle identity thing. Yeah, and that's because and like Volkswagens in general are pretty white collar, because like I mean I
agree with that.
Like most people I see in Volkswagens are people that would be in BMWs if they had the money, or Mercedes if they had the money. So you have people that are kind of on that track, even buying the SUVs like the Touaregs and the Tiguan's and stuff like that. Like they're, at least in where I'm from, they're much more of like a white collar.
I completely
agree. Like type of projection. Yeah. And it's a lot of young professionals that will own the other European cars, buying them as their first European car. Right. Myself included, my first European car. And so I think I don't know, in New Jersey I'd have to wonder, like, because the people that are rolling around in pickups in Jersey are the more blue collar types of people. Not good or bad. It's just a a lifestyle identity type of thing. Yep. I don't see that many white collar people in this Northeast corridor choosing a pickup truck. So I'd have to wonder, how I'll be curious to see if this really hits the market. My local Volkswagen dealers, I'll be curious to see who I see driving those.
Right. That's a good point. And I do notice that when I'm here. Like, I definitely don't notice as many like nicer Tacomas. I don't see any nicer Frontiers. They're all very like, okay, like, that person's driving it for function, whatever they do, whether it's fishing or whatever. They're just, they just need something to throw around.
Yeah, the truck is not really like a big part of like the like I guess the average person's lifestyle. Like, like there are, like, don't get me wrong, we got our hillbillies in Jersey for sure, man. We have our blue collar, not hillbillies even, but we have our like successful blue collar people, very successful. Some of the richest people I know in my area are very blue collar people, and they do drive the trucks, and they drive like the King Ranches and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and,
they're nice trucks.
You see a little bit of that for sure, but like by and large, like it's a pretty suburban area. Yeah, there's not that much.
This is like an entry level luxury. I don't know. Like
it is kind of luxury though. Yeah, like if they're gonna stick with the Volkswagen language, it's gonna be kind of luxury.
You're not gonna buy this for performance. No, actually, maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
Well, off-road performance. Yeah, I'd be curious.
Who knows?
To see if
but like, you're not gonna buy it to like. This wouldn't be your first choice to haul something.
No, no.
Like, I don't know, use it for a job. Or
and I don't know if it's like the first choice of like, if I want a truck, like, it's definitely not going to get like the Buy American crowd. Because it's a Volkswagen, it's not Ford, Chevy, or Dodge. Nope. But I think they're really shooting for like the Ridgeline crowd. Like my girlfriend Gab's dad, he just bought a Ridgeline, and I mean, granted, he owned a shop for a long time, so like he knows like Volkswagens are a little finicky. But if he didn't have that bias against them, and I think his type of buyer is the kind of person, because he'll use the bed for things, but he's not really like hauling stuff. You know what I mean? So I think
The Ridgeline is very capable.
Oh yeah,
for a front wheel drive.
Well, and this is his second Ridgeline actually, and that's a great truck. Like he let me drive that the other day, and man,
styling wise, I
great.
really hate that truck.
Really? His is all black. His is the black on black on black on black.
I hate how the truck looks.
Really?
But I know, like, I respect it. I respect the hell out of it for what it is, and the extra storage compartment underneath the truck bed. It's freaking huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we also use they has like the same seats that like fold all the way up, so you can use the passenger floor. I've used that a bunch of times when he has me load things. And you can
open the truck bed door two ways.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
No,
it's very. The Ridgeline's a really smart truck, and that's one thing. That, I mean, they didn't really open it up too much when I was there, but like, I think if it's gonna compete with the Honda, it's gonna have those like interesting and clever features.
Yep.
I don't think being a Volkswagen is going to be enough. They're really going to have to pull out all the stops, especially if they're not going to offer a diesel.
Yeah, and they're definitely going after a more masculine market, just like the front end.
And again, there's part of me that hopes. There's part of me that hopes that maybe, just maybe, this may be Diesel's last gasp for life.
I will buy one.
Dude? Like seriously, like I would like that would be it. Like. If they have the audacity to put a diesel in this,
that would be a ball
and try to save their brand, their diesel in America, I if anything could do it, I think that's the one.
I agree. I completely agree.
Because it works in the truck market. I think the truck market's more forgiving.
What model would they have to use to kind of hopefully get the diesel back?
It would have to be that.
Right? There's no model.
If anything, that could be the only diesel model they offer anymore. And then people will be like, oh, my truck gets 30 to 35 miles per gallon. Oh, how's that possible? Well, it's a diesel. You know, that gets people talking and be like, wait, what if my car was a diesel? Oh, well, funny story. Way back once upon a time, in 2014, Volkswagen made all these diesel cars. But, you know, I think if there is any last chance for diesel in America, it's probably, or for Volkswagen diesels, it's probably this.
Yeah, the interior looks nice.
It does look nice. But it looks nice in like a...
I know it's a concept.
People who have an office job kind of way.
Like, yeah, exactly. That
it doesn't scream like I work, you know, like I'm a hard-working blue-collar guy. Like it's like a truck I'd buy. Like which is weird because I'm not a truck guy.
Yeah. Should be interesting.
But it is similar to the Honda in that like they started with the Atlas, which is exactly like the Honda. Let me start over. I'll cut that part because it's exactly like the Honda because it's exactly.
Which car?
The Atlas is exactly like the Honda Ridgeline. The Atlas 10 is exactly like the Honda Ridgeline in that the Ridgeline is based on the Honda Pilot, and this is based on the Atlas like Pilot competitor like SUV almost minivan. Like,
did they say anything about the chassis for this car?
What do you mean? I think it's the exact same.
It's a unibody.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not full frame.
Fair enough.
So
that's the way it's going
to be limited there.
I mean, not saying that's the best thing, but just for weight, like you can't have a full frame and then expect to.
Yeah. Good fuel economy and driving.
Yeah,
and a little car like
which is what you're going for in a car like this.
Yeah. Now they also brought out, I forget what it's exactly called, but they also brought out like an X6 type of thing, like a Atlas Coupe SUV as well. Similar concept form. So what that makes me think is, I think they're trying to make the Atlas like this whole range of like SUV truck vehicles. So I think that's pretty cool. And it also explains why they didn't bring any of the other options from elsewhere in the world where they already make certain things like this.
Yep.
If they're making an American platform that's going to hit all these bases, I think the economics of their decision is more long term. They're planning on making a whole line of these things.
There's their new CEO that went into that took office. But was it 2012, I think? Pretty much his mission statement was he wants Volkswagen to be one of the largest in terms of market share. Mm-hmm. And that was the time. When did the Mark 6 come out? Jettas.
Mark 6 came out in 2010, I think.
Okay, so he probably came in 2008 or 9. Okay. Because that was the year that kind of started this whole like cheaper, more affordable.
Right.
Yeah, because you can tell they skimped out on a lot of things. Like the Mark 6 didn't have rear independent suspension anymore.
Oh, you mean between Jettas?
Yeah, between Jettas. Like, there's a huge change. There's a lot of cost saving without, trying to maintain the same amount of technology and all that. So I think in that same regard, into their mission statement to be one of the largest top 3 players in the U.S., this is definitely going down that route.
I mean, the truck market is so huge.
That actually, I don't know about full-size SUVs anymore, but yeah, truck market.
I mean, actually, because a lot of people are not buying minivans, are buying those, like the Honda Pilots and stuff. I think it all depends. It's people's taste, but I know. I mean, like the idea to make a truck is totally good because so much of this country, that's just what you drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And personally, I love trucks.
I can't wait to see the Texas edition.
I'm a huge truck guy. I'm a big truck guy.
I like trucks. It doesn't. I wouldn't say it's my lifestyle, but there are certain trucks I would own if I had enough cars already.
I would have a Raptor.
I would definitely have a Raptor.
I would have a Raptor.
The Raptor's the one.
I would have a FX4 F-150.
Oh, that's pretty cool too.
I would have.
I would have a Cummins Ram 3500 with a manual transmission.
Oh God!
And I would never need to use the gas to get it off the line. I just let that clutch out, nice and finesse like. It would be great, and I would talk like that every time.
Please.
No, I like trucks. It's just not my lifestyle. It's all good. I totally respect them.
Next time you come to SoCal, I think you'll be surprised.
The desert trucks are more my kind of thing. I will say, I saw a real Baja truck on the road, and that floated my boat.
I'm like so over that because I grew up singing that. I'm just like,
man, that just like I would rock the hell out of it.
Like all my high school parking lot was just like Rangers.
Well, this wasn't fake. This was like a real. I looked this up after we passed it, and it was like a $200,000 truck.
Oh wow!
Like it was like the brand new
one that floats over
250 or 350 diesel. Yeah, it's literally this was a legit one.
The crazy
pre-runners. Yeah, this was like a real one, and out in the middle of the Arizona desert.
Yeah,
it was nuts. But yeah, I would do something crazy like that. But like your normal truck, okay. I've driven a few of them over the years, and I like it. It's interesting. It doesn't have the handling for me though. I drive too aggressively.
It's a truck.
That's what I mean though. It's just like the type of vehicle just doesn't jive with my driving style.
It's like asking a sports car to tow a yacht.
No, I'm not asking you to be a sports car. I'm just saying like I like to just fly through turns. And that does not suit my driving style.
Okay.
So I just find myself frustrated when I'm in a truck.
I like trucks because of their versatility.
Oh,
And my lifestyle.
Totally.
I'm like camping, surfing, all that stuff.
I like having friends who have trucks because sometimes I need to borrow them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the best
That was
part.
pretty much me.
That's
Sam,
awesome.
what are you doing this weekend? You on dinner? Like, why are you...
Want to help me move?
Why are you talking to me after 5 years?
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed you bought a truck. Last time I posted.
That's the other thing. It's like, oh, damn, I would love to help you move, but unfortunately, all I have is a Miata. Oops.
Right.
I'll come lend a hand.
But yeah. There's a lot of exciting cars this year. I think we talked about this on the last podcast. Just so many.
We talked about the Cadillac.
Yeah,
we hit some of the other things that were there.
But there's just so many awesome new cars coming out.
It really is a good time.
It's kind of frustrating because there's too many good things.
There's a lot. Yeah, we were talking about this before. It's
a good problem.
It's a good problem, but it's almost like everything has a formula, and they're all really good at that. But they all kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's almost like things are a little too good and there's not enough variation in some ways, but that's a good problem to have, I guess. It's better than everything being shit. So
fair enough.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, like the early mid 1970s where, everything got choked off and it was all trying to keep the muscle cars alive with 120 horsepower.
Yes.
The 7-liter V8. Like, oh god, that was the most pathetic freaking era ever. Like, the Americans just...
We'll be talking about eras in another podcast.
In another one.
We're probably going to piss everybody off.
Oh, well, yeah. You'll piss everybody off at different times in the podcast.
Yeah, we're just going to rip on
some old man will be like, oh, yeah, you're damn right the 60s was the best. What are you talking about? The 80s was better. But yeah, that's pretty much it for New York. I'm sure there's a lot of cars that came out that we didn't talk about.
But if you're around the area, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's going on. Well, actually, this is going to air next week. Okay, so it will have just ended. But if you're listening to this in the past, if you somehow traveled back in time or whatever, go. You should go if you can make it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
It's worth it. You can probably see everything you need to see in
I'm
like
heading up to Boston,
2 hours or something.
so hopefully on the way up I can just swing back.
Yeah, just go early in the morning. Just,
Yeah.
You know,
I know
you'll get through it
yeah.
real quick.
Yeah.
But it is pretty cool. Oh yeah, the one other thing was I sat in the Veloster N that we discussed a few podcasts ago. It was that cool blue color, and the exhaust tips were like 5 inches
That's awesome.
big. They definitely got the exterior looking.
Who knew,
pretty
huh?
good. Yeah, and supposedly that car is not going to cost terribly much, like high 20s, low 30s.
Oh, well, that's
So it needs to be less than like a Civic Si or to fit with Hyundai's value proposition.
Yeah, how
Or
much?
a Civic Type R. I mean,
Yeah,
it's more of a Type R competitor supposedly.
Okay,
So
it'll probably be like $3 or $4 less. Sticker.
yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, the only thing is the interior, like so like the ergonomic stuff, like the seats held you nice, the shifter felt real good, the clutch pedal I could tell springy wise was needed some work, but like everything else, the way you sit and stuff, it feels pretty performance. It's not quite as like hardcore like ready to go as like a Civic Type R.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, for a daily, that's better in some ways. Like it doesn't have like Recaro seats. Like I don't know. I hope it doesn't have Recaro seats. It doesn't have the crazy like Evo style Recaro seats that like hurt your back.
I feel like a lot of the new Recaro seats coming with manufacturers are pretty comfortable.
They've gotten better.
Like the Camaros.
I'm talking like
really nice.
Oh yeah, those are amazing. Yeah,
those are
that's
really
true.
comfortable.
Yeah, they've definitely gotten better. When I think of that about like that, I think of like Mitsubishi Evo 8.
Yeah,
And
those
it's
are.
like, ooh. But no, so it's not like that. It's not uncomfortable. It grips you well enough. But I will say, like, the materials in there kind of feel a little subpar from every other car. If we're talking like Civic Type R, STI, Focus RS,
Yeah.
it maybe is like one rung worse in terms of like material quality. But it's okay. If it's also not a $40,000 car, if it's a $29,000 car, I think that's okay. So, we'll see. I'll be curious to drive one.
That'd be awesome. I
Hell
want
yeah.
to drive one too.
We'll have to go do that.
Yeah.
When they're
Let's
out.
do it.
It's an attainable car. You can just,
Yeah.
just go rip it. It's a good time. But, alright, so
Let's talk about.
let's move into
next.
brands.
This one should be a little fun.
So brands you would most likely not buy, or brands that, and now this is totally subjective.
Yeah.
We're not here
completely.
to
I think that goes
libel
with that.
against any brands or whatever, but these are opinions. And, maybe they're educated opinions or, opinions we have experience with, but these are the opinions.
Mhm.
Agree, disagree. Let us know what you think.
And this is coming from a car enthusiast standpoint.
Yeah, we are both kind of hyper consumers and
Yeah, for sure.
very nitpicky about things.
Yeah.
But it was weird is like you look at some of these cars, like even at the auto show, and you're like, and I see some things, and I'm just like, who buys that? But people do.
Yep.
Like
That's
you got
why they make 'em.
like Mitsubishi, like go there, like there was these people like checking out the Mitsubishi because it was bright pink.
Yeah.
It was a shitty car inside. Me and Gav sat in there. It was just like Gav's like, ooh, it's pink. I'm like, come with me. Let's go sit in it. Tell me this is a nice car after we sit in it. It's just like, oh.
Was it like the the Outback?
I don't even
or
remember what it was.
I don't even know.
No, it was like the little one. The little, like,
The
tiny one.
Mirage?
Yeah, I think. I don't even know what it's
You're talking
called.
about the Yaris competitor?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Dude,
I
it
think
was
it's Mirage.
Such a shit box. But on the inside. And
I mean, the car is
it was
freaking
pink,
cheap.
but people liked it. What I'm saying is, like, I'm just saying, like the lay people that were walking around just to walk around, like, they don't know anything about it. They like it because it was bright pink. And that's all they want. They want a pink car, and they don't really care how it drives or whatever. Good. Hey, buy it. Go ahead. I'm not here to tell people no with that. But, all right.
I think you kind of...
I guess I kind of hit one of my brands.
Pretty much.
Modern Mitsubishi. We hit this.
The Evo
We hit this before.
Evo died.
But honestly, there's only 2 Mitsubishis I would ever, or 3 Mitsubishi models I would ever consider buying at any time, probably. Evos,
Yeah.
Rally Art Lancer, and that's like a compromise at this point. And like the 3000 GT VR4.
I don't really know much about
consider. That. I'm not saying I would buy them. I would consider.
Yeah.
The other
Fair
cars
enough.
aren't even in the conversation.
Right.
For an actual purchase.
Yeah, I have a funny story with
shot themselves.
Yeah, the Mitsubishi Outback, which is pretty much a Nissan Rogue competitor. When I was shopping for my first kind of new car. My parents were gonna help me out, sort of like, buy something practical. I go out, I do a lot of outdoorsy things, so like something that's somewhat capable, but not too expensive. Where if
Ford
I wreck
Raptor.
it, okay, yeah. I went into the dealer, yeah, but I went to Mitsubishi because it was next to the Ford dealership. I was looking at Ford Escape, and yeah, I said that. And then I went to Mitsubishi, and my dad was pretty open and just he's not a huge car guy at all, but he has he knows a decent car when he sees one. So he got in the car, we did a test drive, and this is the funniest thing I've ever heard. My dad's very optimistic, and he's like, he never bashes on a car, but he's like, it's okay, let's get something else better. But he got out of the Mitsubishi, and he said in Korea, and he was like, wow, I'm pissed off this car wasted my time. Like he felt like he went back in time 5 years, and they asked for more money.
He should have complained to the manager.
He was like,
well, how do you sell these pieces of shit cars?
He pretty much said like, this is everything about this car is a piece of shit.
Just like,
but we were interested because the exterior looked okay.
Yeah, well, that was the one that kind of looked like a Lancer, right?
Yeah, it was
on the outside.
Yeah, it was like, oh, it looks okay. And then I got in, I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, no, just oh man, I don't know, man. But, they lost it. If they ever had it, whatever they had, they lost. Like,
yeah, it's so sad.
The rally cars were cool, and that's about it. Unfortunately,
so sad,
but their new cars, forget it, dude. I would never be caught
dead
in one, man. Like,
it sucks. There's just warrant. Like, all right, let's kind of go through high level stuff that makes it, in our eyes, a bad brand.
The biggest thing for me is that they had a good thing going with the Evo that they could have built on, and then they just totally threw it in the trash.
They went
and it was really good. They're
like fun lifestyle thing.
Yeah, they had that. And, well, they even is it even like a fun lifestyle thing? Are they?
No, that's what they're. I'm not saying the cars are, but that's what they advertise.
Yeah, I guess that's what they're going for.
Yeah, even their commercials, like their earlier ones, where they really pushed the Outback after they killed the Evo. They're really trying to get some type of flagship.
They were trying to be Subaru instead of being themselves, and they failed to be Subaru.
Yeah, Subaru kind of already had that. They had two things. They had the STI rally kind of crowd, the enthusiast crowd, as well as the safe family capable car. Mm-hmm. But then Mitsubishi only had the rally part.
Yeah, in terms of the real following, they never got the safe family thing.
Even if it wasn't safe, something unique about their SUVs, whether it be they're known to be affordable, sporty SUVs. Or something. They just didn't have anything.
They never. There was never anything remarkable.
There was no technology. There was no bargain for your, bang for your buck like Hyundai does.
And I'll be honest, even the freaking Evos, as much as I love the Evo and I love the idea of the Evo,
it's overpriced. The interior looks like crap.
That's true, and
compared
also
to the STI.
Well, yeah, I mean...
No, the new STIs are nice.
Well, yeah, but the newer Evo was... The Evo 8... The Evo 10 did have a nice step up from the previous gens, and that was back in 2008.
Yeah, but the last gen was in 2010? The last production?
It began in 08, and then went to 15, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or 16, but I think 15. But here my biggest gripe with all of them is that, and I've driven all the gens, is that they never got the transmission right. Ever. They had the paddle shift, which on an Evo 10 was only available on an Evo 10, or they had the 5-speed manual, which is available on all of them. And
it's only 5-speed.
I think they had a 6-speed on some of the MRs, and that's the only one I haven't tried. So maybe that's the one. But the Evo 8, 9, and 10 are driven manual all and paddle shift as well on the Evo 10, and the paddle shift is actually probably the one, from a driving perspective, I would choose on the Evo 10 because the manual is so bad. It's this 5-speed shit. And until you get to the power, higher power levels, power just falls off in 5th gear. And it just, it just never jives the way that the Subarus jive with their gear ratios. And it always irks me because every other part of that car is absolutely phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But it just, I don't know, man. For me, a bad transmission can kill an otherwise great car. Well, yeah, okay. And then you have, all right, so I've only driven an 8, a 9, and 10. I haven't driven a 6 or 7 or 5.
Nice.
Driving the other ones, I don't know how those were, but I bet they're magical.
I would still buy it. This is one of my dream cars.
Oh, the
Evo 8
FQ.
MR.
Or the MR,
That is my dream. In that dark gray with those orange and red taillights.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously.
Dude, you know what though? That's a good car to buy if you can get one at a decent price right now, because you're not going to lose money
with an engine that's intact.
Yeah, intact. Well, yeah, if you buy a good one in good condition, Evos are pretty much going to go up, because even the rumors I've heard of the new Evo, they're
making another Evo.
Rumors, right? But I've heard it's going to be a hybrid. So that isn't going to take anything away from the old ones. The value of those cars is going to stay fine, or increase for ones in good shape. So if you can get an Evo, I'd get it in while you can. Right now, that's and maybe possible investment alert here. If you can find a good Evo, it might be a good time to get in, because I don't see those going down, because Mitsubishi is so far away from where they were. I don't think they'll ever be back. You know what I mean? So there's that. But Mitsubishi. Okay, so we've totally thrown rocks at Mitsubishi now. What is your pet peeve?
Throwing boulders at Mitsubishi.
What brand do you hate?
All right, here we go. I think most enthusiasts would agree. Just Buick. What the brand stands for. For what you get, I feel like you get a lot of car, generally, like tech-wise, styling-wise. Just for the money, it's like, it's okay. But everything Buick stands for, it makes me cringe. It just stands for, when I see a Buick, I smell retirement home. When I see a Buick, I feel the person that fills up their tank with the gas cap on the other side of their car. They just have to reach over and they have to fill up the car. I see Buick as the person that...
So people who care even less about cars.
Yeah, it's purely functional, and they want little gimmicks in their car.
They want a nice car that's purely functional.
Yeah. And I think they are decent cars, to be honest. But I just would never... Everything the brand stands for, I just can't.
I also think the brand itself has been diluted over the years. Like, I think they lost their way.
What was
a long time ago, man.
Yeah, what was kind of
the classic Buicks were like, they were really stylish and they had luxury. They weren't Cadillacs.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't trying to be Cadillacs. You know what I mean? Like, they were that middle range. They still occupy this to some extent, but they're not unique like they used to be. Right. They used to be a much more unique car. And now it's literally like the Verano is a Chevy Cruze. You know what I mean? And every model is just a version of the GM platform.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't do that much with them. That's okay if they actually makes the cars different on top of that platform. But they really just put a different body on the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it waters the whole thing down. It doesn't really make it. Now, I will say, I'm not a Buick hater, because I think they're moving slowly in a good direction.
Yeah, like the new what's the one we saw?
It's the Regal wagon. I forget exactly.
It's pretty good. It kind of looks like an all-road in my eyes.
A little bit, and that's kind of what they marketed against. It's like the A4. They have some interesting.
Just that badge though.
Things.
There's no heritage anymore, in my opinion.
My favorite Buick I've ever driven was, now granted I haven't driven a GNX. It's on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was when Buick, that was the 80s muscle car, new era muscle car with a 6-cylinder turbo, when turbos were first coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was nuts. But that was, back in the day. But my favorite one I've driven was the Buick Verano Turbo, because it's so unexpected. And they don't brand it as the Verano Turbo. It's like the Verano Premium package. But dude, it moves. It's got 260 horse.
Oh, this thing.
And 260 torque, or 250 horse, 250 torque or something. And it has no chassis control really whatsoever. It has pretty responsive steering, but the chassis just totally loose. It torque steers like a bastard, and it's totally uncorked, but it's this little Buick. It's just totally unexpected, and there's something charming about that. You know what I mean?
I think in 2014, this car, the Verano, was the top selling car in China.
Oh, I can see that. In China, they view Buick. They love Buicks in China.
for all cars. It was top selling
Yeah.
in general.
Really?
Yeah, and then not just like luxury, like
That's pretty crazy.
like in China.
I liked when I drove the Verano, the normal one, when it came out, and I did a review on that. Like, I actually really liked that car for what it was. Now, price in mind.
The badge, though.
I agree, but for what you got, like, it was a pretty nice little car. It was not bad. Like, it's sort of like a Lexus if you can't afford a Lexus.
You're giving up on life.
Maybe. I mean, it's there are definitely more distinctive cars you could buy at any level of Buick, but I don't know. I don't hate it because I've seen what it once was when I go to the classic car shows and stuff, and there is a brand to be salvaged. I just don't think they're really moving that quickly towards that. Yeah, that's the Regal GS. Oh, yeah, okay.
Wow.
So they did do the Regal GS in the previous gen.
What the heck?
But it was just too damn heavy. It was front-wheel drive, and they should have made it the Insignia OPC, but they didn't. So they could have had an S4 competitor in the previous gen, but they chose this front-wheel drive thing instead, and I think they totally missed that opportunity. The Insignia OPC in Europe was the same exact thing that we had as the Regal, but it was a V6 turbo, bona fide Audi S4 competitor. And GM couldn't be bothered. So we'll see what they do this time.
Yeah.
But
we'll see.
know.
I mean, I feel like if they follow the same trend as Cadillac, then they'll be fine. I think Cadillac is shedding that whole image of being, like the cruiser, just relaxed luxury car. I mean, with like all the V models, definitely trying to appeal to the younger generation.
It's kind of hard to argue with the CTSV.
Oh yeah,
that ain't no old man's car,
nope.
Man. That's 640 horsepower riot.
That'd be interesting to see with Buick.
Yeah, Buick. I think Buick just needs to be bolder. They're not doing enough. They're too vanilla.
Yeah,
and they need to just take a stake in their brand and do something that is really remarkable. And they have the heritage to do it. So I don't know what they're waiting for. But Cadillac has their new CEO. He's bold. He knows what he's doing, and I think that shows in their products.
Oh yeah.
I think they need a halo car though. I do. Whether it be like a Rolls Royce level luxury car or like an exotic like the Cadillac CN.
Yeah.
Cadillac at this point needs like just something to unquestionably be like, this is a Cadillac. This is the new Cadillac. Out with the old image, in with the new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Buick, I think, needs that too. But Buick probably could use it. They're not ready for that bold of a move yet, but they do need to be more bold with their standard lineup. Like, yeah, right now we're looking at this lineup right here. It's just
like a typical dealership lineup shot.
Yeah, it's just like your vanilla everything. What flavor and what size do you want? It's very vanilla.
Exactly. But yeah, any other brands that you would stray away from?
Rimac. That's right. I said Rimac. The ones that make those crazy hypercars, the one that beat the 918 and Salamandron's video and all that. The one with the Concept 2 that I said looks a lot better. It does, but there's a big problem. It's an electric hypercar. And
spell it.
I just had RIMAC. So there's the Concept 1 and recently the Concept 2. Just look, it has a place in the world.
Hello.
The new one looks good. It has a place in the world. I'm not saying that this car shouldn't exist, and I'm not saying I fault anybody who likes it. I'm just saying if I'm going to buy a hypercar, I want more to the experience than electricity alone can offer. Not saying I wouldn't buy a hybrid like a 918. I need an engine. I need a gearbox. I want to be involved in the driving experience as much as possible. And this doesn't do enough. Like, yeah, it's really fast, and that's awesome. But, some of the other cars are just as fast, and they have a lot more excitement to their experience because they have this engine that's like, wow! And just like, it excites more of your senses, whereas all this does is go really fast, fairly quietly. It makes a sound, but it's not like a particularly good sound.
Yeah, we'll see with the next generations, though.
I just don't see how electricity can offer any more to the experience than it already does, other than like artificial sound.
But I think we're like obviously a dying breed in terms of petrol heads, but
Possibly.
yeah, I mean, I think there's gonna be a different angle to car enthusiasts though. It's not gonna be about the sound. It might be, I don't know, I'm just totally guessing here, but it might be like how the electricity, I don't know, gets displaced. I'm totally making
The
this
problem
up.
is it's a dimmer switch. In the end of the day, your gas
I
pedal
think
is a dimmer switch.
I think you should be more open minded.
I don't see how it could be anything else.
I completely agree with you, but I think there's an element that we, as people that grew up with petrol engines, that we will never understand with people that grow up with electric cars. There's going to be a dynamic, a feel that they feel that we don't feel. We're just going to.
But I think that's true. But I think that will be because they've never experienced what used to be.
Right, it's like the
You know what I mean?
old school muscle guy cars. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you never experienced trying to steer a 3,000-pound
But it's true.
tank."
Like
with
there is
crappy
an
steering.
aspect to that experience that that was really special, and I just think the more you wash out of an experience of a car like this, the less why would you spend $1 million on that? Again, keep in mind, we're talking about hypercars. I'm totally for, an electric Hyundai Sonata. Fine. Get around. I will have an electric daily driver. Don't get me wrong.
Come on,
this
looks amazing though.
But it's not how it looks. If I want to look at a car, I'm going to buy a model of it.
V12 in that car.
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah.
V12,
Looks
manual
amazing.
gear shift, whatever. Or even paddle shift if it's good. Sure, all day long. It looks amazing. But, again, if you're really going to buy this car, granted, most people who are buying hypercars, it's like they're going to buy this, they're going to have a Zonda, they're going to have all these of the above, and this will be their electric supercar. Great. I just personally would never be interested, in my own opinion, I would never be interested in an electric sports car. I don't care how fast it is. It just doesn't, it's a one-dimensional experience to me.
Until you get in one.
No, I've been in one. I've done not a hypercar, but the Tesla, the P90D. I've gone 0 to 110 in that car. It's batshit crazy. I had fun, but after the 6th or 7th time you've done it, it's kind of okay, any other tricks? Whereas you drive a Porsche or something, you get used to the speed, but that's just the beginning. Then you're driving with the car, and you never get enough of that engine sound and the way and act of shifting gears and really connecting with the car. That experience never gets old.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean?
I completely agree with you.
I just think a car like this, that's lost on.
You're comparing, yeah, but I'm I keep defending the electric car, but I'm totally on the side that Nick's on. I would totally take a Porsche, I don't know, 911.
How about a base 911?
Sure,
Carrera?
I would take that over this car. To
I
be
would
honest,
take that over this every day.
I totally would.
Yeah.
But I think let's. This is still in the infancy of electric cars, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the petrol engine has had decades to develop into what it is today. So let's see, maybe there is something more dynamic to electric engine that we don't know about.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, but right now, as of now,
with what's available right now,
yeah, I agree.
I have no interest.
Fair enough. But I would totally rent one for the weekend.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I would love to drive one for an hour or a day, experience it. I want to have every experience, but at the same time, I'd love to drive the new Prius for a day.
Oh God,
I want to experience everything. But when it comes to, we're talking when it comes to actually spending your hard-earned money, even if you're this rich, I think there are other ways to spend $1 million or whatever it costs. There's, I'd rather have a classic Ferrari or something, with a Colombo V12.
Yeah, you're a very
200 and some horsepower and sounds amazing.
But you are a purist in that sense. Even if you had all the money in the world, you would still be a purist in that sense. But for me, if I had that much money, I personally would see myself buying one of these.
I'd have a Tesla. No, I'd have a P100D as a grocery getter for sure.
That's no.
But that would be my electric car. I wouldn't do an electric sports car.
Fair enough.
Electricity has a place in my life. It's just not on a Sunday afternoon. That's not going to be my Sunday car.
But tying this back to brands that you wouldn't ever consider, I feel like there's no heritage though.
No, I agree. It's no heritage, and then make a product that I'm not interested in.
No, the reason why I bring that up, I feel like it's unfair, but again, that kind of goes. But then also at the same time, that's
heritage is everything.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was kind of contradictory there.
All right. What other brands wouldn't you?
I don't really. Oh! I know one. GMC.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big Chevy guy,
and
this is a really stupid reason. I have no real solid. In my opinion, it's a terrible argument.
These are biased opinions.
I hate that the logo is 3 letters and they are red.
Really? Really?
That is legitimately one of my top 3 reasons.
Oh my! I mean,
I know that's probably the dumbest argument you ever heard.
When it comes to writing a check, though, dude, that's the kind of thing that will stop you.
Let me try to defend myself a little bit before everyone starts turning off this podcast. If you have stuck it out this long, thank you.
Yeah, really.
The GMC logo. So, for me, car styling, it's not all about the logo is obviously incorporated into the car naturally. 3 letters in a color. And that there's no fun thing about them. There's no attempt to make them stylish at all. It's why?
I'm never gonna see it the same way again.
Exactly. It's every
kid picks.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes it worse because you see the Chevy car underneath it. If you see a Sierra, you're gonna be like, oh, that's a nice Silverado with 3 humongous letters that no one knows the meanings. You know what the meaning is?
It's a lot like Buick in that regard.
Right, it's but Buick is a symbol. It's a symbol, though.
Buick has heritage. Right. The brand has heritage, and if it didn't, it would be dead. But you're right about
GMC,
it. It's the same thing.
What do you know? Do you even know what it means? GMC.
I just know that Denali means it's bitchin'. That's all I know. If it's the whatever GMC Denali, it's got the leather interior.
Sure.
And hoes flock to it.
Yeah, but
according to the rappers,
what luxury brand flaunts bold blue collar 3 humongous letters in red?
Blue collar?
I think
it is blue collar.
I think it's blue collar in terms of design. The logo.
I think it's blue collar in terms of flavor. I think they make trucks and SUVs. Yeah, that's all
they're supposed to be the precision.
Yeah, it's they're
supposed to be in between Cadillac and Chevy. That's their positioning.
Yeah, I mean, they don't make Cadillac trucks, the big ones, the Super Duties and stuff.
Yeah.
If they ever did that, I'd puke. They made an Escalade 3500.
That's my reasoning because the logo looks like crap. I know that's extremely.
If it bugs you, it bugs you, man.
That is probably the most car enthusiast response ever.
Well, I do agree though. Why wouldn't you just buy the same exact? What equity does the GMC brand have over Chevy?
No, but the interior trims but the interior on GMCs do somewhat look nicer.
But that's artificial. That's done by GM. There's nothing if they offered the same interior with a Chevy badge, I would like the truck just as much or better.
It would just bug. If I bought a GMC, I would have to rip out all the badging and then do something with it.
Yeah, Chevy badges on.
I would put nothing. I would just debadge everything.
But there's nothing really to it. It's just
no,
the upholstery's different.
Yeah, the materials. I think.
But you can get a Chevy with leather interior and stuff.
Yeah, right? But it's different though. GMC, I think they're pattern, their combination of
it's a little more seats. Luxury.
Yeah, I think they do look nice. It's just the freaking red letters on their cars and oh god.
I say scrap the GMC and give all that luxury shit to Chevy. Call it a day.
Yeah, Chevy.
I mean, they keep it around for whatever reason.
You mean it's not a BMW Tesla combination?
That could be coming too. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's it. That's a very short and stupid response.
I don't know. I'm trying to think if there are any other brands that you wouldn't buy. Acura. All right, so we talked about this before. So in some ways, I would buy an Acura if it was a totally sensible decision, and I just wanted a car that wasn't a shitbox. So it's if I want an Accord, but I don't want to have shitty cloth seats, I would buy a TL or something or a TSX. Great, cool. But the problem is these cars are not really cheap at this point. They're really nice. Don't get me wrong. Every Acura I've ever driven from TL all the way up to the new NSX, I get this sense of it's like really well engineered. Every system is working really well with every other system. And they're so, like, it's just well done, but there's just no flavor to it. Like, the NSX even was like, it was really, really fast. And you could tell they really tried to give it flavor and had a little bit of an engine tone but on a supercar level, like, for what it was like, kind of dull. And I've told you before, like, I, at a certain point, kind of forgot I was driving a supercar, and I was like, oh, just do-de-do when I'm in traffic. And like,
I think a lot of people...
And it's just like,
response.
so you can't even do a supercar in a way that, like, you know, excites... Like a TLX is a really nice car, but, like, it's just not inspired. And I think they're still suffering from that. They haven't really jumped off the deep end yet the way Lexus has. Lexus has totally fixed their brand, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they used to be like this, but now I think Lexus has some very exciting stuff, and that's not just the F models, that's the F Sport models, and including some of the other models that are you know, not performance but otherwise. Like their design is really nice, their materials are beautiful.
Even
and
like an entry level IS is looking
the
decent.
IS 200T, that's a nice little package. You know, they're really great cars, and you know, and so are Acuras. Acuras are good cars, but it's hard for me to ever just really want to write the check for one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like at the auto show, did you even bother? Did you see Acura? You're like, oh yeah, I wonder what they have.
Yeah, I was like, oh, there's a new RDX as I walked by.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, oh, where's the NSX? Oh, cool.
Even then, it's like, I mean, they've had it there for how many years? Counting the run up to when they actually released it.
Seriously,
I've seen that car since 2010.
Yeah,
I don't need to see another NSX.
Yeah,
it's just, I don't know. They move slowly, and I think they need somebody with some balls to like take that company over and really like differentiate them from Honda.
Yeah,
make them like mean something.
Mm-hmm.
They never really. I mean, I think from their inception, they were just an American brand for like a Honda with leather seats, right? That's essentially what it is. Yep. And it's evolved to be a little bit more than that now, but it's still basically that.
Yeah.
And man, they just you know, they just need to be bold. They need to step up. Because all their competition is. Lexus is, Infiniti is.
Oh, Infiniti, for
Infiniti,
sure.
they're leaving. The Lexus and Infiniti are leaving Acura in the dust right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they brought out, like, the new, like, A-Spec performance package, which is a freaking exterior design package.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't change shit about the car.
You think Genesis is going to surpass Acura?
I think they already have.
Really?
Probably. I think so.
Well, they only have three sedans right now, so.
No, but look at the sedans they offer.
If you're talking
7 Series competitor, right?
Yeah.
Acura doesn't make anything like that. 5 Series competitor.
Acura does.
Acura doesn't really make anything
no?
like I mean, they have it's rear wheel drive based, right?
Yeah.
5 Series is rear wheel drive based. The TLX is front wheel drive based. It's more like a Lexus ES, and I don't even know. BMW doesn't even make a car like that.
Yeah.
It's priced against like the 3 Series.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's based on an Accord. You know what I mean?
Accords are nice.
They're not. Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Love the Accord, and I think the TLX is a fantastic car on paper. And like, I just couldn't really write the check for one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I find the brand is uninspired, and I don't know.
I think we're past the era of safe now.
Yeah, I think any brand that's going to command more money in the luxury segment there has to be a reason. I mean, you know, but you know, Acuras are bought by people who drive Hondas until they get the promotion, then they buy an Acura.
Hooray!
Right? Hooray! You made it. But you know, all right. Let's see. Any other on that list that we wouldn't?
I'm pretty good.
I'm probably good.
I mean,
I think the rest of them all make something that's worthwhile. There's a lot of other individual cars I would just never.
Yeah, but as a brand generally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like general brands.
I would before the Polestar came out, I would say Volvo.
I'm biased on Volvos because I had a really good experience with Volvos as a kid.
But just not like even the R was it the R type? The R,
yeah, the S60R and V70R.
Yeah, they were like okay.
Yeah,
like nothing was. Every time I saw Volvo, I just saw safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now
that's
when
what
I
they
see
did.
Volvo, I'm like, ooh, potential.
Well, my mom had an S60 or an S80 and we went and picked it up in Sweden at the factory. Did the whole European delivery thing.
Yeah.
And but that thing had features. This was an '03 model.
Was
It
that
had
the one with the rear headrests that are like
TV screens.
Yeah.
Yep. It was the S80 executive package,
Nice.
and it had TVs in the headrests, and it had like the aux import inputs, so I could bring my Xbox in the car and play Xbox while we drove.
Of course.
It was, dude. This was in an era in '03. The only other cars that had that was like a Maybach. So like for this or a Bentley, like this car, for Volvo to have that option back then was insane. And that was while I was playing hockey, and like the reason we bought it wanted it is because we were driving all over the state of New Jersey and all over like into New York and PA and all the tri-state area playing hockey. So sometimes we'd have a 3 or 4 hour drive, and it would keep. They wanted to keep, my parents wanted to keep me occupied, so I'm not bouncing off the walls. So like, you could watch movies, had a DVD player, you do all that stuff. And but in '03, that was a ball-in setup. Like it was really, and the interior was like piped and stuff. And like it was a really quality interior, really nice, awesome car for its time.
So you're biased a little bit.
I am biased because that thing was so sick.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. We only got rid of it because my mom got rear-ended by some lady, and like in an SUV going 40 or so, she was stopped. The SUV hit her going like 40, barely hit the brakes, and my mom was able to drive the car home. We had to drive it to the adjuster's office.
Wow. And
it was like the rear end was crunched in, like, but you couldn't close the trunk basically. This thing took that much of an impact. And
that's what Volvos are known for, right?
It was nuts.
Safety.
And like they wrote it off because the frame was bent. But that was it. What's this?
Supposedly the most searched cars in 2016.
What did I say in Albania? Gotta be like stolen Mercedes-Benz or something. I love it, like Russia's Hyundai. Oh my god.
I mean, this might not be correct.
Premier Putin is going to get the Genesis G90. Oh yes. Oh my god.
I don't know how accurate
Washington is Alfa Romeo. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't think this is accurate. Like, yeah, this is obviously a joke.
New Jersey's Acura. That's got to be a joke.
This is a joke.
That has to be. Yeah, Texas is smart.
The map we're looking at says the most searched cars in Texas is a smart car, which is
they're really curious about the other side down there.
Yeah, they're curious about cars that can fit in their trucks.
Yeah.
Like,
well, in case I want to go to town and drive around town too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's. God. Oh my god, GMC thing. All right, so I think we nailed it on the brands that we wouldn't buy as a blanket sort of thing. At least right now, yep. I am an open book. If Acura or any of them start doing, or Mitsubishi, if they start doing it right, and if Rimac starts making naturally aspirated V12 cars with a stick shift, I'm willing to give them all a chance.
Yeah, but, I mean, I think we talked about it, like 5 years ago, even more 10 years ago, like Hyundai and Kia, I would never have thought they would have gone. I legitimately thought they were going to go bankrupt. Yeah, when they first entered the U.S. market,
and now we're both entertaining the idea of purchasing.
Exactly, like a serious purchase, not like a purchase. Yeah, not like I guess like. Yeah, I thought they were going to follow the same trends as Daewoo.
Well, it's Daewoo. I don't know. I mean, Daewoo's like, I feel like if you're, I don't even know. I don't even know enough about that brand to say I wouldn't buy them, but I guess I wouldn't buy them.
They're a huge company.
They're huge. I know.
Massive.
But like, I just don't know anything about the cars they sell.
It's garbage.
But yeah, I mean, I remember from Gran Turismo 3, it was like the shittiest car in the game. And that was it. That's all I know about Daewoo.
Garbage.
Supposedly, are they well made?
No.
No? I guess the other cars, the other one I said earlier was any Chinese car at this point. Just
for now.
For now.
We'll see. I don't really know much
Their industry's developing. They have to find their own way of doing things. I will never buy a Chinese car that is trying to be an exact copy of another car. It just, until they leave that mentality behind, I am not with them. So, because it's just like a crappier Lexus RX. Like, no thank you. Mm-hmm. But once China's auto industry develops some originality,
which I think it will.
Which I think it will eventually. you can only copy things so many times before you're like, hey, I wonder if I could drive my own car. You know what I mean? So when that happens and they start doing it quality-wise, I think there's definitely some opportunity there. But for now, no thanks.
Yeah.
All right, so what's our next topic? Our last topic for tonight is
the self-driving car incident with the Uber and the XC90. That woman that passed away by getting hit by one.
All right.
Uber or whoever, I guess Uber did.
Somebody released
a video, like the footage of the
before the impact, like right before the impact.
Yeah. So there's a video. There's footage of the front of the car, kind of like a dash cam would. And then there's a video. There's footage of the driver, the cabin,
or the passenger driver.
Yeah,
the passenger sitting in the driver's seat.
So yeah, there's a lot of from what I've briefly researched. There's a lot of backlash with the I guess the driver or the person observing the car or in the car. She was like looking down. Looks like probably her phone or something.
You can tell in the video though that was not her fault.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, like it's. A lot of people say she should have been more attentive. She should have slammed on the brakes, overrid the system.
You could barely see in front of her.
Yeah, even if she... Yeah, I guess...
I think, like you said earlier, I think
any person sitting in a car for just say... I don't know how long they sit in it, but I would assume at least 2 hours. At least.
Well, I don't even mean that. I mean like what we were talking about. Like if you're driving along a road like that, pitch black, at night...
Yeah.
And you're cruising 50, 60 miles an hour like you do on the open road, and the lady's already in the middle of the road, and you just come across her like that, a human's going to hit that person too.
Yeah, exactly. And if you see the video, the person, it totally comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, she's in the middle of the road in the pitch black darkness.
Yeah, even if they did slam on the brakes.
There's nothing.
Yeah, they would have hit her eventually.
Yeah.
Like.
I mean, I don't think even if you slammed on the brakes by the time you saw her, you would have only slowed down. Say she was
maybe
going
like
60,
5 miles per hour.
Maybe like
Max.
5. Like,
it was pretty.
She was going to get wrecked either way.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's really tough. But what gets me is so these self-driving cars, in theory, right? They've got all these sensors to see what's going on around them.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, if this thing's using some kind of radar, I'm not exactly sure what the sensors are that are on it and whatnot, the equipment. But if this is using any kind of radar out in front of the car going that quickly, shouldn't it have been able to sense that there was an object in front of the car and stop the car? I mean, that's the goal, I think, for self-driven cars is they'll be able to see with sensors things you can't see. That's like an airplane. Mm-hmm. You can fly through the fog because your instruments can tell what's coming and whatnot. And so, like, the fact that this car did hit this lady is pretty alarming to me because you would think that if it's good enough to, drive itself at speed on the road, it should be good enough to see an object in the middle of the street. It's not like she was moving that fast. Clearly, she didn't move fast enough.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Seriously, though.
Yeah.
It's a serious problem.
It is a serious problem, and I mean, I think we can both say we're not super familiar with the technology.
No, not in that specific.
I know generally enough. Like I know with Tesla's autonomous driving, they read lines on the road. I don't know how well these systems work at night. Obviously, not well enough.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious. I mean, I think I heard this on another podcast that we should have like an artificial city and just let autonomous cars drive themselves with, random things walking by for
just build it in the desert and let them figure it out.
And let's just keep them running for
probably how it worked,
5 years, just nonstop.
And they would learn each time, and it would totally get smarter. And then you use that.
Just let a person walk through.
It's like, oh man,
running
with the bulls ain't seen nothing yet.
Exactly. But I mean, you're right though. Like you expect technology to be there to at least would have at least beeped or something, even if it couldn't stop, something to alert hey, there's a problem.
I mean, I think we both can totally agree. Any human driver would have hit her.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. She was not visible at all until she was pretty much at the bumper.
Mm-hmm.
And that car was going fast, but that didn't look to me like it was a road that was in the middle of a city. It looked it was out in the middle of a like in the mountains or something,
Sure,
somewhere, like
yeah.
out in the country. So like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've crossed roads like that in the middle of the country at night sometimes, but like,
you look for headlights.
yeah, you look for headlights, and like you don't go until like it's clear. But like, I'm not saying maybe it was a curve or something. I don't know. I can't say it was the lady's fault, but like, simply put, it's like I don't think there was any avoiding this accident with a human driving,
Mm-hmm.
and clearly the technology leaves something to be desired, because if the whole point of autonomy is to be both safer and more efficient, if safety's really the number one thing, I think that for most people, safety's the number one concern. And so, if it's not really going to be much safer than a human driver, what's the point?
Yeah, but I think
it'll get there.
Yeah, I think it will get there, and I don't think we should stop this program.
No, not at all.
I think we should obviously, definitely learn from it.
And I think maybe some more testing, like you said, maybe some testing outside the real world right now.
But I think, I think it was good that they did test in the real world, to be honest. Like, I would have want them to test in a controlled environment for a long time. It doesn't really... advancements don't come from...
That's true.
Like, staying in a
few people gotta die, for sure. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the nice...
But it's kind of true. It's like, space travel.
I'm trying to say it the nice way, but that's pretty much what I'm getting at.
people have died in space.
Yeah, and then we get to where we are now, so... Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we haven't been to the moon in a while, but...
Yeah. Or,
officially... Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I mean, or like go over the glaciers and fall off the Earth.
Yeah,
flat Earth.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Christopher Columbus. Yeah, how do the? Okay, we're not going to get into that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It just, I think this is going to be publicized, of course, and everything's going
It's been, yeah, but yeah, I think let's keep it going.
It does need to keep going.
We're not going to advance if we
need self-driving cars.
If we're too scared to try new things, we're not going to advance.
Yeah, and even me as an enthusiast, we need self-driving cars.
Yeah, I keep thinking of like my parents when they're like 90.
Yeah.
What if they want to go somewhere? They can't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Think about it exactly. Like, think about what it'll do for people that aren't mobile or like handicapped people and whatnot. Like, people that really struggle right now. Mm-hmm. Are going to have this mobility and this freedom that'll be unbelievable. I mean, I'm totally with the idea. I just also want a world that I can have my sports cars into. But, totally. For the main world, sure. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yep.
So, all right. I think that's all for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We will see you next week. And we
hope you enjoyed the auto show.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the auto show if you went. I certainly did.
Hopefully
it's always fun.
Yeah.
It's a good time. I love going into the city. It's just such a... I live in Jersey. It's close enough.
Are you being sarcastic or are you being...
No, I love the city. Oh. I do. No, it's just such an interesting place. There's always some crazy things going on.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's the auto show is... It's becoming bigger than Detroit. Like, there's more debuts, I think.
Yeah.
Or more significant debuts now.
BMW's not going to be in Detroit anymore, too.
Yeah, they've kind of... Them and Mercedes have kind of given up.
Yeah,
so,
which is
New York's like the new... New York and LA are like...
I think it's still New York.
New York I think is emerging as like the crown jewel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been to
US.
LA. It's nice, but definitely New York tops it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool. Alrighty, well, you guys all have a good night, and thank you for watching.
This is 6?
This is 6.
Awesome.
Take care.
See you.